I have a story that will truly grab your attention. Imagine this. A brave woman leaves the hospital with not one but two tiny babies in her arms, babies she never planned to have. And then, in that very moment, she freezes in shock when she sees a mysterious guest waiting just outside. What could be so strange that makes her stop dead in her tracks? Stay with me as we dive into every twist and turn of this unforgettable day. There was a woman called Sophie. Now, Sophie was a kind and smart lady who had always planned her life carefully. She had dreams of traveling, studying, and doing many exciting things. But one day, life took a completely unexpected turn. Sophie found out that she was about to have twins. Yes, not one baby, but two. And not only were these twins a surprise, they were unwanted in the sense that Sophie had not planned to have children right then. It was like ordering one scoop of ice cream and suddenly receiving two. Inside the hospital, the corridors were bright and full of friendly faces. The nurses smiled warmly as they passed by, and the doctors worked hard with their shiny tools and machines. Sophie's doctors used an ultrasound machine to check on the babies. An ultrasound is a special machine that makes pictures of the babies inside the womb. They measured the twins and made sure they were healthy. I want you to imagine a cartoon-like machine with a screen that shows squiggly images. This is how doctors view the inside of the tummy. Even though everything was done with care, Sophie was confused and a little scared. Sometimes life gives us surprises we do not expect, and this was one of those moments. When Sophie finally held her two tiny babies for the very first time, she felt a mix of joy and worry. Her heart was pounding fast. It was a bit like riding a roller coaster that you never agreed to get on. But once you are on, you try to enjoy the ride. The nurses told her kind words, said that the babies were strong, and explained that twin births happen naturally in about 1 out of every 100 births. They even mentioned that sometimes twins share one room inside the womb, and sometimes they have their own tiny space. Everything was so new, and Sophie was trying to learn how to hold and feed two little humans at once. After a long and tiring day at the hospital, Sophie was ready to go home and start her new life. She carefully carried her tiny, swaddled twins through the hospital doors. Outside, the fresh air felt cool, and the soft light of the sun began to warm her face. Everything seemed ordinary until something extraordinary caught her eye. Right there, leaning against a waiting car, was a person Sophie had never seen before. This was no nurse or doctor. It was a mysterious guest. The stranger was dressed in a dark coat even though it was not very cold, and the person's eyes shone like they held a secret. At that very moment, as Sophie stepped outside with her twins, she suddenly froze. Her heart stopped for a second as she stared at the guest, and time felt like it slowed down. It was as if the entire world was holding its breath. Sophie's mind raced. Who could this person be? Did they know her name? Had they come to help? Or was there another reason for their waiting? Our friend Sophie was not expecting any company at that moment. All she had wanted was to start her new adventure with her babies. But life, with all its twists, had another surprise in store. I... Who are you? Sophie stammered, her voice soft and trembling like a small bird's chirp. The mysterious guest looked at her kindly and said, I have been waiting for you, Sophie. I am here to help you on this very special day. His voice was calm, his tone friendly and even a bit warm. He introduced himself as Mr. James, a kind gentleman who worked with the hospital as a counselor. He spent his time helping new moms who felt lost in the midst of unexpected events. Mr. James explained that sometimes the world gives us surprises we are not ready for. I know it is a lot to take in today, he said gently, but I am here to offer support and a few words of wisdom that might make your heart feel a little lighter. At that moment, even though Sophie was still scared and confused, she felt that there was something honest and caring in his eyes. Mr. James sat with Sophie on a bench just outside the hospital. As she rocked her twins gently in her arms, he began to share some interesting facts about life and nature. Do you know, he said in a friendly tone, that twins are like a pair of best friends from the very start? Even though you did not plan for them, they have come together to learn and grow side by side. He went on to explain that in nature, surprises can be gifts in disguise. Imagine you ordered a plain ice cream cone, and the shopkeeper suddenly gives you two scoops instead, one you asked for and one extra. At first, you may not know what to do with the extra scoop, but soon you see that it can be a sweet blessing on a hot day. Mr. James's words were simple but filled with truth. Sophie listened with wide eyes, slowly beginning to understand that perhaps the twins were not a burden, but a new part of her life that could bring unexpected joy. Mr. James also shared some technical details about what was happening inside the hospital that day. He explained how doctors use very special tools to see the babies even before they are born. The ultrasound machine, he said, is like a magic camera that shows us the secrets of the womb. It makes a picture of your babies, and the doctors can check if they are strong. In your case, the doctors saw that your twins were healthy and fighting their way into the world. He continued, scientists have learned that twin births are rare, happening only in about 1% of all pregnancies. And sometimes when twins are born, it is because one egg splits into two, or two eggs are made at the same time. This may sound like a hard idea, but it shows us that life can work in different, wonderful ways. Sophie nodded, her worry slowly fading as she found comfort in Mr. James's words. The atmosphere felt a little lighter, and even the twins seemed to sense the change. One of the babies let out a small, happy giggle. Mr. James smiled and joked, I think we may have a little comedian in our group already. Sophie couldn't help but giggle too, and in that funny, sweet moment, she began to see a glimmer of hope. Sophie had a lot to learn about taking care of two babies at once. Mr. James told her that caring for twins is a bit like juggling two special balls at the same time. At first, it may seem very hard, but with practice and a lot of love, it becomes a skill you learn without even thinking too much about it. Always remember, he said, each ball is precious. Even when you drop one now and then, you pick it up and try again. His kind advice made Sophie smile. She felt as if a small weight had been lifted from her shoulders. After that day by the hospital door, Sophie took Mr. James's wise words to heart. She decided that although her day had begun with shock and uncertainty, she could work hard to build a happy future with her twins. Back at home, everything changed. The quiet house was now full of the soft sounds of tiny voices and gentle coos. Every day taught Sophie something new. In the mornings, as the sunlight peeked through the windows, she learned the routine of feeding and changing her baby's diapers. Sometimes these tasks were like fun little puzzles that needed solving. Other times they were funny because one baby would make a funny face while being fed, sending Sophie into a fit of giggles. Sophie also discovered that many other parents had stories that were full of surprises. She met neighbors at the park who, like her, were still learning how to handle a brand new life. At the park, the green grass and bright flowers seemed to cheer her on. She found comfort in the simple acts of watching her babies smile, hearing their gentle hiccups, and even seeing them nap quietly in a stroller. Each little moment was like a tiny treasure that built up her new day. Mr. James visited Sophie a few more times. Every visit brought new lessons. One day, while they sat together on a park bench, he explained something called oxytocin. He said, oxytocin is a hormone that helps you feel warm and full of love. When you hold your babies close, your body makes oxytocin. It is like nature's way of giving you a gentle hug from inside. Sophie listened carefully and thought, maybe these surprises are not so scary after all. They can help us grow and feel love in ways we never knew. At another visit, Mr. James told a funny story about a mother who accidentally fed her twins at different times. One twin got a little too much milk, and the other got a little too little. They started making silly faces during dinner, and soon the whole family was laughing together. Sometimes, Mr. James said with a smile, life is like that mix-up in the kitchen. You might not get what you expected, but in the end, it can taste sweeter than you ever imagined. Sophie laughed too, realizing that humor was one of the best medicines in times of change. As the days turned into weeks, Sophie began to trust herself more. She learned that even if the twists of fate felt heavy at first, they also carried hidden gifts. The twins, who once were seen as an overwhelming surprise, began to light up her life with smiles and tiny fingers that clutched her hand. Every lullaby she sang and every bedtime story she read became a moment of joy that made the hard parts easier to bear. Sophie often recalled that first moment outside the hospital when she froze at the sight of Mr. James. At the beginning, his unexpected visit had startled her. But over time, she saw that his presence was a sign that help and understanding were always nearby. In life, sometimes challenges come when you least expect them, and sometimes the help you need appears in a mysterious way. As the months went by, Sophie's life grew richer in ways she had never imagined. The twins grew bigger, and each day brought a new adventure. They started to smile at the songs she sang, and when they laughed, the whole house echoed with joy. Even on days when the challenges seemed too many, Sophie remembered Mr. James's kind words and the unexpected twist outside the hospital door. One quiet evening, after the twins had gone to sleep, Sophie sat by the window and looked at the starry sky. She thought about that unforgettable day when life had changed all at once. In that moment, she realized that even though she had not planned for these twins, they had quickly become her teachers in love, patience, and the art of living with surprises. Every little challenge was a chance to learn something new, and every unexpected guest, like Mr. James, was a reminder that we are never truly alone. I believe that life is full of mystery and magic, even in the most ordinary days. Just like Sophie, we might all encounter twists that make our hearts race. It is important to remember that even when things seem weird or a bit scary, every challenge holds a lesson. Sometimes the people who appear in our lives unexpectedly bring comfort, understanding, and guidance. When we are open to these moments, we often find that love, hope, and joy can overcome our worries. Sophie learned that the little surprises in life, like an extra scoop of ice cream or an unexpected visit from a caring friend, can help us see the beauty in our days. And while the day she left the hospital with unwanted twins started with a shock, it soon turned into a turning point filled with growth and heartfelt connection. Every time you feel lost or overwhelmed, think of Sophie and remember that sometimes strangers, even mysterious ones, can guide you to a better path. Thank you so much for listening to this special story about Sophie. the twins, and the mysterious guest who helped change her life. I hope you found the tale as surprising and heartwarming as I did. Remember, life is full of unexpected turns, and it is in these moments that we learn to grow stronger and kinder. If you enjoyed the story and felt inspired by the way life sometimes brings help when we need it most, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. By subscribing, you join our community of curious hearts and brave souls who are always ready to explore more amazing stories like this one. Also, don't forget to check out the video on your end screen. It has more stories about unexpected twists and the magic hidden in everyday life. I promise you, there is much more to learn and smile about. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What surprises have you experienced in your life? I would love to hear your story.